What's up, everybody?
Right.
ShonnyDman here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great, and welcome to basically the new time slate for Nerd Talk. It's usually on Wednesdays, but now with my new schedule for my YouTube channel for the rest of the year, you're gonna get Nerd Talk episodes every Friday night. So should be working out better for everybody. I'm very excited. Got a new guest on for this week. I want to obviously thank her for coming on. So, to get us going, tell us a little bit about who you are and what kind of cosplaying you do.
All right, cool. Yeah. I guess my name is Tammy Potter. I guess I kind of my cosplay thing is warrior princess cosplay, and I do all kinds of like props and whatever on commission, but I mostly specialize in Xena warrior princess, and so I make all the costumes and props from the show as screen accurate as possible for the fans, and so that's kind of what I do.
Okay, how long you been doing that?
I think it's been about 3 or 4 years. You can't remember. It was 2000. Yeah, it's 2019.
Okay, so right around just as like the pandemic was starting to creep around and things were starting to. That's what I've seen with a lot of cosplayers that I've had on. Um,
Mhm.
Most of them, that's kind of when they started to start doing cosplays was around that time period. So, what really got you going?
Um, it really wasn't pandemic related because I own a bicycle shop, so that was actually our busiest time ever. So it wasn't like we were home doing nothing, twiddling our thumbs, trying to figure out what to do. Um, I the year before, my sister is a big cosplayer, and she asked me to go to MegaCon to meet Lucy Lawless, and she asked me to dress up as Xena. And so when we went, we were a pretty big hit, and so I was like, "Oh, this is something we do." But time passed, whatever. And I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
Oh,
and I was like, "I think I want to make that costume." And so that was my first costume that I made, and it came out it came out perfect, and I got second place in the advanced category at my first cosplay contest. So I was like, oh, I think I might be pretty good at this. And so, my original passion is Xena. So after that, I kind of switched back to Xena, and because I have a passion for making chakrams and her costumes from the show. So I kind of switched back to my roots.
uh, I remember growing up. Whenever we would get dropped off at my grandmother's house because my mom had to work early in the mornings, and my grandmother would have Xena on TV, and
Mhm.
so that's right. That's when I first came across Xena and Lucy Lawless. I was like, oh my gosh, this woman's amazing. Like, very attractive woman and everything. And I was just like, I'm completely mesmerized. And so I don't know. I don't remember if I watched every episode from like start to finish of the entire series. A lot of times it was just the episodes that were on TV at the time. Um, but I do remember watching a good bit of her shows, and uh, I think every now and then to this day there are still some episodes that like sporadically pop up on TV.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
Sci-Fi does a Xena marathon every spring, I think it is.
oh, okay.
So that's really the only time I've seen it like on TV.
Mm.
I know the El Rey channel had it for a little while, but other than that, I don't think anyone owns the rights to it, like to stream it on Netflix or anything like that. So you have to buy it if you want to watch it.
Uh, you, so did Lucy Lawless get to see you in your cosplay?
Yeah, I saw. Well, yeah, when I first met her, yeah, that was kind of funny. That's kind of a funny story. um, because it's like I'm an ex-professional athlete, so I don't really get starstruck. So when I come to these people, I try to mess with them a little bit. And so I walk up, and she goes like, she starts like tapping on my armor and like kind of touched my boob. And I was like, "Hey, Lucy, cosplay's not consent. Can't be touching my boob like that." And she said, she kind of went like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'm just messing with you." She's like, "It looks so real." I'm like, yeah. But yeah, and I met her again at XenaCon last year. So yeah, so I've had some fun meeting Lucy Wallace.
Did you meet her any other times, or was this like the only time that you met her?
Yeah, she's so busy with her own stuff. She's kind of more a political activist and stuff like that. She doesn't make the rounds at conventions very often. So the only thing that she shows up to is usually XenaCon.
Okay. Where's that at? I don't think I've ever heard of that.
It's in Burbank, California.
Okay. Have you been?
Yeah. So I'll be going in January.
Oh, okay, okay. So you were also, so you mentioned that you were also like a professional athlete.
Hmm.
What did you do?
Yeah, I was a softball player.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, so traveled the
I,
world playing softball.
oh, how was that?
It was interesting. It was fun. Um, okay, I don't have many complaints. Let's jump on a plane and go here.
How long did you do that?
Um, until I was 24, I had a really bad shoulder injury that I couldn't play anymore. So after that, I had to return to the real world.
Is that when you got into the bike shop that you mentioned?
um, Sort of like when you have never had a job before and you're 24. So I ended up going to Sports Chalet, which is a lot like Sports Authority or Academy, depending on where you are. Just a chain for sporting goods. And so I ended up working there because my softball background. So it's like managing the softball, baseball department or whatever. But they needed help in the bike department, and they're like, "We'll send you to bike mechanic school so you can work on bikes." I'm like, "All right, cool, that's fine." And then yeah, I started getting better paying jobs at bicycle shops, and that's kind of where I met my husband. So now we have our own bike shop.
Oh, okay. How's that business going?
It's going okay. I think because of online stuff after the pandemic, it's really made things unpredictable because we'll have like waves of customers and we'll have weeks without customers, and so it's been pretty stressful. But brick and mortar stores are starting to die, so we have some decisions to make soon.
I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
So what does your husband think of your Xena cosplays?
He's kind of like whatever. He's not really into cosplay or I guess
Yeah.
going to conventions or anything like that. He's just like, you go do that. I'm gonna go for a bike ride.
So with your
He doesn't even,
cosplays, oh, go ahead.
yeah, because I'll be like running into the living room. I was like, look at this, it came out so cool. He's just like, yeah, it's cool, whatever.
Oh my goodness. So with your cosplays, how long does it take you to make them? Because it looks like, I mean, it doesn't look complex, but it looks like there's a lot of pieces that may just be a hassle to make at times.
They are, I mean, the costumes, like, luckily, most of the costumes that I'm looking for are owned by people that are
Okay.
reachable. And a lot of these people are very generous. And so I was like, oh, I found out you own the costume. Do you mind taking a bunch of pictures for me? Because I want to recreate it. And most of them are pretty generous. And they said, yeah, sure. And they'll send me 1,000 pictures of their costume. And so making these costumes as screen accurate as possible is a lot of work because you're basically reverse engineering what they did. And these are professional costumers, so you're doing complicated sewing techniques and stuff like that. and not to mention like the one from Hercules is covered in copper wire. So hand stitching that to the corset, I had to solder it all together and hand stitch it to the corset. That was it took some time. So on average, I would say each costume takes me between 5 and 8 months to make, depending on what it is.
Oh wow. Which one
Yeah.
what's your favorite?
I mean, I think my favorite one is the one from Hercules. Just because there's a lot going on. There's so many accessories, like going through the 3 episodes, a lot of things changed between those 3 episodes. So I made sure I had every accessory that she had in each episode. So making all those things and pieces to that costume it was a lot of fun, just because just even like I even asked like Kevin Zorbo, like, do you remember if she had like open-toed boots? And he just like he's just like, no, don't bother me with these questions.
Oh my goodness. That's so so what about the weapons and things like that? Where did you get those?
All those are 3D modeled and then 3D printed.
Okay.
So yeah, so yeah, so it's actually kind of cool on the show is a lot of these weapons and stuff are just like pieces of things that they found, and they just all these things are made out of clay first and then molded into and then made out of resin. So I'll see things on these swords that are just random things that you would see at like the dollar store. Like one of them is like, that bird that balances like on the end of your cup
Oh yeah,
on
yeah.
its nose, like that weird balancing bird. They use that for the Amazon sword. And so that's what's kind of cool is like you kind of look at this stuff, you're like, oh, I've seen that before.
So you're
So
going
it makes
to
so it makes like yeah, it makes
yeah.
modeling a little bit it makes it easier because then I have something to it's like, oh, I have a more detailed version of this than a fuzzy picture from 1997 to look at. So finding those things makes it easier to get a more accurate model.
Okay. So you're going to that con in January. Are you making a new cosplay during this time, or are you just gonna bring the ones you already have?
Um, I plan on I guess wearing the finale costume. I've only worn that in public at Z-Night Retreat. And what was that? In May. And so I tend to make new costumes for retreat over a con. Um so usually when I make a new costume, I debut it at Z-Night Retreat. So since I haven't really worn that one around, I was just gonna wear that one at XenaCon since a lot of people haven't seen it yet.
Okay. You must be like very obviously very popular at these conventions, and so like you always
Yeah.
get like a bunch of fans or other cosplayers coming up just wanting to take your picture and things like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's like a mini celebrity in this world. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just looking at your pictures on your Instagram, you look
Mhm.
exactly like her, and so I can
Yeah.
definitely. I think I was like really surprised when I think I came across your Instagram page. I think that's what I came across, and like I saw your pictures. I was just like, oh man, she looks just like her too. That's really impressive. I don't know how you pulled that off, but you did.
Yeah. It's just like I've seen like pictures of Xena now that I do this a lot, and we share more of a similar profile, like from the side. And so sometimes I'll like look at something, it's like, oh, I don't remember taking that picture. I was like, oh, that's not me. But I think like fit like head on, I think there's a lot of differences. But I think a profile we kind of share a similar profile.
And so, um, so I remember you said you played Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Did you ever beat that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I made a costume for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay. What is that one? I probably wouldn't even
You
notice
haven't?
it on your page.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I haven't posted about it in a long time because that was
Oh.
4 years ago.
Oh.
But it's more of like a Greek. I mean, Assassin's Creed is it's different eras and times. So this one's set during the Roman Empire,
Yeah.
and so basically you're kind of more of a gladiator type character,
Have you
mercenary.
thought of has any other Assassin's Creed game or anything like that giving you ideas for like your own twist with some of the costumes that you've seen that's like, in the different eras?
Not I guess not really, because like my personal like favorite era to be in is kind of more that Greek Roman gladiator era. And so that's why I like that game so much, because it also reminds me a lot of Xena. Because it's also a female character. Um, so it's more relatable. But yeah, I just like kind of that time era where, you could make your own person.
Is
You
that
take
like
what you want.
a side thing that you like? It's kind of like Greek mythology, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like with the gods and stuff. Like a recent photo shoot I did, I kind of combined a bunch of like different costumes and made like more of like an Athena character. So I really enjoyed doing that.
Okay. I remember when I remember as a kid they did that animated Hercules and Xena movie. I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of it, but I remember watching it, and I really only watched it because of Xena. I knew there was a Hercules like live action show that was kind of going on, I believe the same time as Xena, but I
Yeah.
primarily watched it because Xena was in it. I mean, it was also, I mean, it was a fun, cool movie too as a kid to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice, like cute musical. Yeah, I mean, if you don't know like kind of the history, like Hercules started first with movies and then it spun off into a TV show. And towards like the middle to the end of the first season, Xena appeared as a guest character on the
Oh,
show. 3 episodes. And the idea was to kill her off at the end of that third episode, but those 3 episodes were so popular that they decided to spin off the show.
I'm
So,
surprised that somebody hasn't brought the idea of like rebooting the show or even doing a
I
movie.
mean, people have tried, I guess, but I think because it's kind of like lightning in a bottle in a way. Those shows,
Oh yeah.
Hercules and Xena, and a couple other ones. Um, that a lot of fans don't really want a reboot. I mean, I think they would enjoy like maybe a revival movie or something, but I think from my consensus of the people I've talked to and the fans that I meet, they just kind of like it the way it is.
No, I guess yeah. Because
Because
that way you
everything is
don't feel
ruined
like
now.
they mess up your favorite show.
So the thing is just kind of the fear of it getting messed up, and so it's like I'll just leave it the way it is. It's perfect the way it is.
So, um, do you travel to like other cons as well, or do you just primarily like maybe not probably not like the XenaCon, the one that you're speaking
Mhm.
about, but do you travel to like some other ones that are around your area?
Um, you know, I've tried to kind of go to like the major ones in I guess South Texas, like Austin City Con and Comic Palooza in Houston, and try to go to the few big ones. Like I'm going to go to Retro Expo in Dallas in a couple weeks. Um, and then I try to do like one or two maybe good ones that are out of state a year, maybe just depending on what I got going on. But yeah, I try to make my rounds.
Okay, okay. So you are probably the fifth or sixth Texas cosplayer that I've had on doing
All
this.
right, cool.
And so I was just like, oh man, I was like, oh, another Texas cosplayer. That's great. Um,
What's
most of the ones I've had on, I think, oh, I can't remember. I know one of them lives in Dallas.
mhm.
I can't remember. I can't remember the other ones. They're all, I think, but I think they all live relatively close to Dallas. I can't remember the other city names that they live in. And so I remember
Mhm.
going to Dallas to visit a friend a while back, and that Texas driving is it's something
It's
else.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very something for sure. And hot.
Yeah, yeah. I think, I think like different regions of the country are kind of known for like different kinds of cosplay. Like, you go to other areas, they're more known for like their sewing, like they have like gorgeous like dresses and stuff like that. But I think like Texas is kind of more known for like more armor based characters. I think because we are able to paint year round, where, if you're in somewhere up north and it's raining and snowing, you can't go outside and paint things. So,
Right.
so I think so. Thank you.
Um, oh, I had it in my head. So when you're not cosplaying and when you and your husband are not working at the bike shop, what is your or y'all's free time? If you have free time, what does that look like?
I mean, yeah, we got a 2-year-old, so we don't have much free time. I mean, we try to go mountain biking as much as we can, and most of my free time is doing mostly cosplay stuff because I have a long commission list. Um, so pretty much every free moment I have, I'm doing something related to that. So I guess I don't really have a lot of personal free time. Because people ask me, "Would you see that movie?" I was like, "No, I don't have time to watch movies."
um, so what? How does that work? Do people just email you, like asking you to make? Is it like Xena based things, or what do you make for them, or it just depends?
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, most of, like, in the Xena world, I am kind of like semi-famous. So most of the time, like people just send me a message on Messenger or Instagram because, I'm pretty active in the groups on Facebook. So they'll just send me a message. Hey, do you think you can make this for me? Um, so, so that's kind of like, I don't know, it's pretty easy. I don't need to advertise on Etsy or anything like that. So
Oh.
I'm out till next year and I don't advertise anything.
uh,
So,
oh man, I had it in my head, but then oh, so what are some cool places that you would advise people to go check out?
like
Like
cool places
like in your area, like in your part of Texas.
I mean, we're in Houston, which is kind of more of a medical destination.
Oh,
So if you
yes.
have serious illness, this is kind of the place to be. Um, we like to say like the zoo and stuff like that, but if you go to the zoo here, it's so hot. They would rather hide in their little cubby hole. So the zoo is not very exciting.
What's
But
the what's the temperature been like there recently for y'all?
it's been pretty consistent between 105 and 110.
Okay.
So yeah, not very fun. So yeah, I think most people with kids are living at the indoor play places and stuff.
No mountain hiking or anything like that in that heat, I expect.
Not really. I mean, my husband, he gets up at 6 a.m. to go ride. I'm not that passionate to do it.
Do y'all ride together sometimes?
Sometimes, like if my mom is watching my daughter, we'll go for a ride together. She's in school, So when it cools off, we'll go riding again together when she cools off while she's in school.
Oh yeah.
So because our shop doesn't open until 11, so she goes to school early in the morning, so it gives us a few hours to ride.
And y'all just ride around like the neighborhood, that kind of thing.
No, the one thing I guess that's good about Houston is there's actually like there's like four big mountain bike trails around here.
Oh, okay.
So we actually live about 4 miles from one. So, we can actually ride our bikes. There's a side trail along a retention creek that we can ride our bikes directly to the trail, which is nice. So when it cools off, we'll do that again.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I think what there's if there was like, yeah, because I remember I think when I went to Texas, it was pretty hot. Probably not like what it is now, but I was in Dallas. I don't know if y'all have it there, but what is it called? It's like it's like these breakfast pastries. It's like they're like rolls and they have food in them.
Yeah. They're
I
called
forgot what it's called, but that's amazing.
Yeah, I love kolaches too.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. My friend, she was interning in Dallas for the summer, and I went to go visit her for a week, and she took me there, and I was just like, "What is this place?" And then I was just like, "Oh my gosh, this food is amazing. This is awesome breakfast food. We need more places like this."
That's like kind of like because I work out a lot, so it's kind of like one of my go-to, I guess, like cheat meals is going to the kolache factory to go get a couple kolaches.
Oh man, I don't blame you. I missed those too. I was just because I think my Facebook did like a reminder the other day or a couple weeks ago, and it was just reminding me that hey, you went to Dallas, and one of the places you went to was Kolaches. I was like, oh, that place was awesome.
Dang it!
I know. It's just, man, what I would give to definitely try those again because those again, like I said, those were great. I love those.
Yeah, delicious.
So what's the so what is the future of your cosplaying look like for you? Like, is there like an ultimate, not like a in game kind of thought process, but have you thought about how much longer you're gonna continue to do this kind of thing?
I kind of, that's kind of a question I've been asking myself this year. It's like, is this something that I want to continue to do? But I think my end game is maybe a bucket list thing is I want to work on a movie making props just one time.
Oh,
Maybe a kind of bucket list thing. So I think next year, I mean, I kind of wanted to make it this year as kind of my priority, but I've just had things go sideways so much I haven't had time to visit that. So I think I'm gonna make it more of a priority after the new year to kind of start seeking those jobs out.
yeah.
Because I don't know if you've talked to cosplayers and stuff like that who actually do commissions and stuff. It's an actual hustle, and you don't really make money. It's kind of more of a, it's a labor of love, as you say. How much time it takes to sand and make a prop look like real metal. You can't charge enough for how much time you spend, and you can't realistically charge for your time. Because they go, it's $600 for a shock room. You want it? Like, no, that's crazy. So more of the labor of love, making props as commissions. But yeah, it's definitely not something you can do to keep yourself alive.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, so it'd be nice to actually go to work to make props. That would be a dream job.
Is there a if you could choose one movie that you've seen out of your entire life to make
Hmm.
props for, what would have been that movie?
Probably Ghostbusters.
It's not bad.
Yeah, like making the proton packs and
Oh,
the EKG meters and
oh yeah.
night vision.
Yeah. You look like you would have had amazing fun with that. So that
Yeah,
is.
speaking, kind of fun is the challenge of like trying to figure out how to make something work. So I think that's kind of like with me, I'm kind of bored because I make probably like 50 chakrams a year, making the same thing over and over and over. You kind of get bored and like, so it's not challenging anymore. So, um, and so I get really excited when someone offers me something different to make. Um, so then it makes my mind work a little bit.
So are you and your husband football fans, or are you kind of like, eh?
I mean, I used to be pretty big football fan, like played fantasy football and all that. But the last few years, I've kind of lost interest. I think kind of when people started like introducing politics into sports, I've
Uh,
kind of really because it's kind of like a movie. It's your reason to escape reality. It's like I want to watch football and just watch football. I really don't care what so and so thinks about our foreign policy or
yeah.
I
No, I
just want
completely.
to I just want to watch football. And so I think when all that stuff is happening, I was like, I'm just gonna go sand something instead.
'Cause I was curious because, like, obviously, we are at that time of year where both college football and NFL football are basically back, and so
Mhm.
and it's that time of year where everybody can just not worry about too much stuff and just watch their favorite teams play. So, and
Yeah.
I don't know, because obviously Texas, you got Texas A&M and Texas Longhorns, and so I mean you have other
Mhm.
Texas schools in there, but those two are the more prevalent ones. Well, I guess in Houston now.
Yeah, I mean sometimes they're hot and cold.
So
Oh, I mean not that, but U of H is hot and cold.
that's true. That's true.
Uh,
That's true.
uh, yeah, I mean I've never really been that much into college sports. Um, but yeah, I mean Texans have been pretty terrible last decade,
Uh,
so
that's true.
it's kind of hard to watch that train wreck.
You ever watch the Cowboys?
I guess not really. I've never really been because I'm from Northern California, so I grew up a Niners fan. And
Uh,
then when I moved to Texas, I kind of I have playing softball and going to college and stuff. I'd never kept up with football after that. So when I came here, I kind of switched to Texans. And but yeah, I've never really been a Dallas fan.
you're not missing much, so I think it's all right. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
but there's teams that you root for. Sometimes like the Lions were kind of hot for a little while, and like, oh, they've been terrible for a long time. Let's root for them because they're the underdog.
yeah,
Sometimes I'll switch just to spice it up, or
that's
even
true.
like I don't know, Case Keenum is. I followed him around a little bit. I think he's back with the Texans now.
I think so. Yeah,
So
I think yeah.
yeah, so
Case Keenum. Where did he? Okay, I mean I've heard his name, but I don't remember where he played in college.
he played at U of H. So he was kind of he's superstar. Oops, sorry, someone's calling. He he was kind of a superstar in college. But you know, going to U of H, he wasn't like top echelon school. So um he, you know, was drafted to the practice squad or whatever. And
Oh yeah.
the Texans had so many bad luck with quarterbacks one year, and he was out hunting, and they gave him a call, hey, get your butt out here to play. And he did a decent job, even though the Texans were really bad. He actually did a decent job. And then I think they released him, and I think it was the Rams that picked him up. Maybe I can't remember. And so he was there for a few years, and he's just been shuffled around a lot. And so, but he's little, and you know, he's little, so he doesn't fit that perfect.
Oh yeah.
Mold. So I think he's like 5'9" or something like that. So he's, you know, not the ideal build for the superstar quarterback.
That's true. That's true. You gotta be a little bit taller than what he brings to the table.
Yeah, so you want someone who can look over the the O line.
Yeah. That's true. But all right, guys, I think that is where we will end this episode of Nerd Talk. Thank you guys for watching. So for everybody who is watching or listening, how can they follow and support you?
Yeah, you can follow me at Warrior Princess Cosplay on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. On Twitter, it's Real Tammy Potter, TAMI. But yeah, so pretty easy to find me.
And I also have that information down in the description. So be sure to give her a follow and show her some love and support for the work that she does. And other than that, you guys have a great Friday night, great start to your Labor Day weekend. And I will see you guys in the next episode. See ya.